There is a rumble beneath the floorboards of civilization, a restless growling that rises from the depths of your chest when you lie awake at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling of your carefully constructed life. That, my friend, is the wolf. And for too long, far too long, you have been taught to muzzle it. We live in the age of the shepherd, the gentle keeper of flocks, the one who counts souls like sheep, who speaks in measured tones of comfort and compliance. The shepherd promises safety in exchange for surrender. "Follow," he whispers, "and I will lead you to green pastures." But what if I told you that the shepherd's staff is also a chain? What if the very safety he promises is the slow death of everything wild and magnificent within you? Friedrich Nietzsche saw this. He saw it with the clarity of a man standing on a mountain peak, watching the valley below fill with fog. He watched humanity huddle together like frightened animals, trading their thunder for the promise of never being struck by lightning. And he roared, "God is dead, and we have killed him," not because he hated the divine, but because he loved what humanity could become. He killed God to birth the Übermensch, the one who creates values instead of inheriting them, who dances on the grave of moral certainty, who says yes to life with such ferocity that existence itself trembles. But here is what most miss about Nietzsche's great declaration. When he proclaimed the death of God, he was not celebrating. He was diagnosing. He was a physician examining the corpse of meaning in Western civilization, and his diagnosis was terminal. What festivals of atonement, what sacred games shall we need to invent, he asked. The answer, buried in the marrow of his philosophy, was this: stop being the sheep, stop being the shepherd, become the wolf. The wolf does not ask permission to hunt. The wolf does not apologize for its teeth. The wolf does not gather in committee meetings to discuss the ethics of survival. The wolf simply is, fully, completely, without reservation or regret. This is not brutality. This is honesty. The wolf acknowledges what the shepherd's morality desperately tries to hide, that life is struggle, that existence is conflict, that every moment of beauty is carved from the raw stone of chaos. The shepherd tells you to turn the other cheek. The wolf asks, "Why do you have only two?" The shepherd preaches forgiveness. The wolf demands, "What if some things should not be forgiven?" The shepherd promises eternal life. The wolf declares, "This life, this single, unrepeatable, magnificent catastrophe is enough." But understand this: becoming the wolf is not about savagery. It is about sovereignty. It is about reclaiming the authority over your own existence that you have been taught to hand over to others, to institutions, to ideologies, to the comfortable tyranny of collective morality. Nietzsche called this the will to power, not the will to dominate others, but the will to dominate yourself, to become the author of your own values, to stop asking, "What should I do?" and start declaring, "This is what I choose." The shepherd offers you commandments carved in stone. The wolf writes its own laws in lightning across the sky, erasing them each dawn to write them anew. Which sounds more alive to you? Consider Icarus, the boy who dared to fly too close to the sun. History remembers him as a cautionary tale, the fool who ignored his father's warnings, whose ambition melted his wings and sent him plummeting into the sea. But what if history has it backwards? What if Icarus was the only one who truly understood what wings were for? His father, Daedalus, gave him wings with careful instructions. Fly neither too high nor too low. Stay in the middle path. Be moderate. The middle path, the shepherd's eternal counsel. But Icarus looked up at the sun, that blazing, impossible, magnificent source of all life, and thought, "If I have wings, why should I not test their limits?" For this crime, the crime of refusing to accept artificial boundaries, he was condemned by every shepherd who came after. They turned his story into a warning. See what happens when you dare too much. See what becomes of those who refuse to know their place. But here is what they never tell you: Icarus flew. For however brief a moment, he soared higher than any human before him. He touched the realm of the gods. He experienced something that the cautious, the moderate, the eternally middle path would never know. Was his fall tragic? Perhaps. But was his flight not glorious? The wolf asks, Would you rather live safely on the ground or burn magnificently in the sky? This is the eternal recurrence of the conscious soul, to suffer for the crime of ambition, to be punished for the audacity of testing limits. But here is what makes Icarus immortal. In choosing to fly toward the sun, he chose ecstasy over safety. He chose the magnificent catastrophe over the slow death of moderation. Even as his wings melted, he remained the wolf. You have been raised on shepherd stories, tales of sacrifice and submission, of finding your place in someone else's design. The shepherd promises that if you are good, if you follow the rules, stay in line, keep your head down, you will be rewarded. Eventually, somewhere, somehow. But what if the reward never comes? What if the green pastures are a mirage? What if the shepherd has been leading you in circles for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to choose your own direction? The wolf knows something the sheep never learn. The pasture is also a prison. Nietzsche understood that morality, at least the morality we inherit, is often the enemy of life itself. It teaches us to be ashamed of our strength, guilty about our desires, apologetic for our very existence. "What does not kill me makes me stronger," he wrote. But he might have added, "What tries to tame me makes me smaller." The shepherd's morality is a shrinking machine. It takes the vast, contradictory, magnificent chaos of human nature and compresses it into neat categories: good and evil, right and wrong, sacred and profane. But the wolf recognizes that these categories are human inventions, no more permanent than sandcastles at high tide. The wolf creates its own meaning from the raw material of existence. This is not nihilism, the belief that nothing matters. This is the opposite, the recognition that everything matters, because you choose to make it matter. The doctrine of eternal recurrence haunted Nietzsche like a beautiful nightmare. Imagine, he said, that you had to live your life exactly as you have lived it. Every moment, every choice, every triumph and failure, infinitely repeated, unchanged, forever. Would you curse this fate? Or would you fall to your knees in gratitude? The shepherd fears eternal recurrence because it means eternal responsibility. Every moment of weakness, every compromise, every time you chose safety over truth, all of it happening again and again, world without end. But the wolf embraces eternal recurrence because it lives each moment as if it were choosing it for eternity. The wolf's yes to life is so complete that it would gladly live every second infinitely. This is the test. Are you living a life you would choose to repeat forever? Or are you living someone else's life, hoping it will somehow become yours? The transformation from shepherd to wolf is not gentle. It requires what Nietzsche called the great destruction, the systematic dismantling of every comfortable lie you have told yourself about who you are and what you owe the world. You must become your own prosecutor, cross-examining every inherited belief until it confesses its origins. You must become your own judge, weighing each value against the scales of your authentic being. You must become your own executioner, killing off the false selves that have been living your life in your absence. This is why most choose to remain sheep. The transformation is terrifying. It means admitting that you have been complicit in your own diminishment. It means accepting that no one is coming to save you, not God, not society, not the perfect relationship or career or political system. The wolf stands alone on the mountain peak, master of its solitude. But here is the magnificent paradox. Only by fully accepting your aloneness do you become capable of authentic connection. Only by refusing to be saved do you become worth knowing. Only by creating your own meaning do you have something meaningful to offer others. The shepherd connects through need and dependency. The wolf connects through strength and choice. The shepherd loves because it is commanded to love. The wolf loves because it chooses to love, and this choice, being free, is infinitely more valuable. When the wolf says, "I love you," it means, "I choose you from all possibilities." When the shepherd says, "I love you," it often means, "I need you to complete me." Which would you rather hear? Which would you rather say? Nietzsche wrote, "He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to stand and walk and run and climb and dance. One cannot fly into flying." The wolf must first learn to be a sheep, must understand the comfort of the flock, the security of following, the sweetness of belonging. Only then can it choose to leave, not from ignorance of what it abandons, but from full knowledge of what it gains. The wolf is not the opposite of the shepherd. The wolf is the shepherd who remembers how to hunt. But beware, this is not a philosophy for the weak-hearted. Becoming the wolf means accepting that you will be misunderstood. The sheep will fear you. The shepherds will condemn you. Even other wolves may see you as competition. You will be called selfish, dangerous, godless. You will be accused of thinking you are better than others. And here is the terrible truth: they will never forgive you for knowing. You are better than the version of yourself that lived in fear. Not better than other people, better than your own diminished past. Better than the self that apologized for existing, that asked permission to dream, that waited for someone else to give meaning to your days. The wolf does not compare itself to others. The wolf compares itself only to what it could become. We stand at a crossroads in human history. The old certainties are crumbling. The institutions that once provided meaning are rotting from within. The shepherds are revealing themselves to be wolves in sheep's clothing, but wolves without the honesty to admit what they are. In this moment of cultural collapse, you have a choice. You can cling to the wreckage of dead certainties, or you can learn to swim in the chaos. You can wait for someone to build you a new bridge across the abyss, or you can grow wings. The time of the shepherd is ending. The age of the wolf has begun. But becoming the wolf requires one final act of courage. You must stop asking others for permission to be who you are. Nietzsche once wrote, "What if a demon were to creep after you one day or night in your loneliest loneliness and say to you, 'This life, as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more.' I ask you now, are you living like a wolf or like a sheep? Are you creating values or inheriting them? Are you writing your own story or reading someone else's? Are you the author of your existence or merely a character in someone else's play?" The sheep asks, "What should I do?" The shepherd commands, "Do as I say." But the wolf, the magnificent, terrible, fearless wolf declares, "I am. I choose. I create. I become." And in that becoming, in that eternal, defiant yes to the chaos and beauty and terror and joy of existence itself, in that moment, the wolf discovers what the shepherds never dared to teach, that you were never meant to be saved. You were meant to save yourself. The question that remains, the one that will haunt your dreams and illuminate your waking hours, is this: now that you know you are capable of being the wolf, will you have the courage to shed your sheep's clothing? Or will you spend the rest of your life explaining to yourself why the flock is safer than the mountain peak? The choice, as it always has been, is yours alone. Choose like a wolf. But becoming the wolf is not the end of the story. It is barely the beginning. For the wolf must learn to dance. Not the careful, measured steps of the ballroom, where every movement is prescribed and safe. Not the mindless gyrations of the crowd, where individual expression dissolves into collective hysteria. The wolf must learn the dance of destruction, the sacred art of tearing down what no longer serves, of destroying in order to create. Nietzsche called this dancing in chains, the ability to find freedom within limitation, to create beauty from constraint, to transform suffering into strength. Watch the hunt of a wolf. Every movement is both calculated and spontaneous, both disciplined and wild. The wolf does not waste energy on unnecessary motion, yet when it strikes with absolute commitment. This is the dance you must master, the ability to be simultaneously controlled and abandoned, focused and fluid, patient and explosive. The shepherds fear destruction because they mistake it for chaos, but the wolf knows better. Destruction is simply creation's other face. Every breath out destroys the breath before it. Every heartbeat destroys the silence. Every dawn destroys the night. The question is not whether you will destroy. You destroy simply by existing. The question is whether you will destroy consciously, purposefully, without fear. Will you be the architect of your own demolition, or will you let time and circumstance tear you down piece by piece? The wolf chooses its own ending. The wolf dances its way to its own destruction, and in that dance achieves a kind of immortality. For what is immortal is not the body that dies, but the pattern that persists. The wolf's pattern, its courage, its authenticity, its refusal to compromise. This pattern can be inherited by others. This pattern can outlive the flesh that first embodied it. You are not just choosing how to live. You are choosing what pattern to leave behind. Dance like a wolf, destroy like a wolf, and create like a wolf. And when your time comes to return to the earth, let it be said that you burn so brightly that others learn to kindle their own fires from your flame. In the end, there is only one question that matters, and it is the question that Nietzsche posed like a knife to the throat of comfortable existence. If you had to live your life exactly as you have lived it, every joy, every sorrow, every moment of cowardice and courage, every compromise and every rebellion, infinite times, without change, without escape, would you weep with despair or roar with triumph? This is the final test of the wolf, not just to accept your choices, but to choose them again and again, eternally, joyfully, without reservation. The sheep lives in regret, always looking backward, always wishing things had been different. The shepherd lives in false hope, promising that suffering will be rewarded later, elsewhere, by someone else. But the wolf lives in the eternal now, making each moment so full, so complete, so authentically chosen that it would gladly live that moment forever. Imagine walking through your life as if every step were carved in stone for eternity. Imagine speaking every word as if it would echo through all possible worlds. Imagine loving as if that love were the only love that would ever exist. This is how the wolf lives, not because it believes in literal eternal recurrence, but because living this way transforms the very quality of existence. When you live as if your choices matter eternally, they begin to matter in ways you never imagined. The wolf does not ask, "What happens after I die?" The wolf asks, "What am I creating while I live?" The wolf does not seek redemption in some future paradise. The wolf creates paradise in each moment of authentic being. The wolf does not wait for permission to be magnificent. The wolf is magnificent now, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this eternal instant that contains all of time. You have been afraid to be the wolf because you thought it meant abandoning love, compassion, connection. But now you see the truth. Only the wolf can love completely, because only the wolf loves by choice rather than by compulsion. Only the wolf can show true compassion, because only the wolf's compassion comes from strength rather than weakness. Only the wolf can create genuine connection, because only the wolf refuses to lose itself in others. The shepherd's love says, "I need you to be happy." The wolf's love says, "I choose to share my happiness with you." The shepherd's compassion says, "I will save you from your suffering." The wolf's compassion says, "I will honor your strength to transform your own suffering." The shepherd's connection says, "We are the same." The wolf's connection says, "We are magnificently different, and I choose to dance with your difference." And so, as this voice fades into the silence from which it came, as these words dissolve back into the void that birthed them, one question remains echoing in the chambers of your soul. In a world full of sheep pretending to be shepherds, and shepherds who have forgotten they were once wolves, will you remember who you really are? Will you reclaim the wildness that civilization tried to breed out of you? Will you stop apologizing for the fire in your belly and start using it to light up the darkness? The wolf in you is not waiting for permission. It is not waiting for the right moment. It is not waiting for courage. It is courage. It is waiting for only one thing: your decision to stop being afraid of your own magnificence. The age of the shepherd is ending. The time of the wolf has come. Howl if you dare, because the mountains are listening.